All right, let's dive into data security today.
Yeah,
You know that feeling you get when you hear about another data breach?
absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
not just about the fines.
Right.
It's the hit to your reputation, the loss of customer trust.
Yeah.
Dynamic data masking, or DDM, is more than just checking a compliance box.
hmm
It's about building confidence that even when you have to share data,
Right.
you're doing it responsibly.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating about DDM is it's like having a safety net for your sensitive data.
Okay.
Think of it this way. You can still work with the data, analyze it, and get valuable insights,
Uh-huh.
but the most sensitive parts are carefully disguised.
Okay.
It's security that doesn't get in the way of actually using your data.
I'm intrigued. So in this deep dive, we're zeroing in on how Mage Data supercharges
Right.
BigQuery's built-in masking features.
Yeah.
We're talking about maximizing your investment in Google Cloud Platform
Right.
without needing a PhD in cloud security.
And the key here is understanding that while BigQuery's DDM is powerful, it's often only one piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Many organizations have data living in multiple places on their own servers,
Yeah.
other cloud platforms, you name it.
Yeah.
Mage Data acts as a bridge,
Okay.
extending those BigQuery policies and creating a unified approach to data protection.
So it's like Mage Data is saying, hey, BigQuery, you're doing great work over there in Google Cloud, but
Right.
let's make sure all your data is equally protected no matter where it lives.
Exactly. And it does this without requiring you to write a single line of code.
Wow.
Mage Data is designed to be user-friendly, which is a huge plus for teams that might not have dedicated cloud security experts.
That's a major relief. So let's talk about Mage Data.
Sure.
I keep hearing it described as a data detective.
Uh-huh.
What does that actually mean in practice?
Imagine you have this vast ocean of data,
Mm-hmm.
and hidden within it are these precious pearls of sensitive information.
Okay.
Mage Data's job is to find those pearls no matter how well they're hidden,
Okay.
using a multifaceted approach.
Okay, I'm picturing Sherlock Holmes for data.
Yes.
How does Mage Data actually track down this sensitive information?
One technique is column name matching,
Okay.
which is the most straightforward.
Mhm.
Mage Data analyzes the names of your database columns,
Okay.
flagging anything that screams sensitive, like social security number or credit card.
Makes sense. But I imagine sneaky data hiders try to disguise things.
Of course.
A bit better than that.
You're absolutely right. What if someone named a column
Yeah.
something generic like customer details?
Right.
That's where AI-powered discovery comes in.
Okay.
Mage Data utilizes machine learning, essentially training a computer to think like a security expert
Mm-hmm.
and spot patterns that humans might miss.
So it's like having a digital bloodhound sniffing out sensitive data
Yes.
based on subtle clues and hidden connections.
Precisely. But AI isn't a magic bullet.
Okay.
That's why Mage Data also uses pattern matching based on specific formats.
Oh.
Think credit card numbers, social security numbers, or even specific date formats. It's like having a finely tuned filter that flags anything suspicious.
So they're catching those needles in the haystack
Right.
based on how they look, even if they're hidden in a pile of other data.
Exactly.
Like it. But what if the sensitive data is spread across multiple systems,
Yeah.
like a puzzle waiting to be solved?
That's where master data matching comes in.
Okay.
Imagine comparing your data against a master list of sensitive records.
Okay.
Mage Data can use this technique to pinpoint those sensitive records,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're fragmented across different databases or applications.
Okay, so they've tracked down this sensitive information. What
Mhm.
happens next?
So,
How does Mage Data actually protect it?
well, this is where Mage Data's flexibility really shines.
Okay.
They offer a variety of masking techniques, not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Okay.
Think of it as a toolkit allowing you to choose the right tool for the job,
Uh-huh.
depending on the sensitivity of the data and your specific security requirements.
All right, let's unpack this toolkit a bit. What are some of the options Mage Data offers?
One classic technique is redaction.
Okay.
Think of it like taking a black marker and redacting sensitive information on a document.
Hmm.
You can block out the entire piece of data or just a portion of it.
So for a credit card number, you might redact all but the last 4 digits.
Exactly. That way you can still use the data for analysis or other purposes.
Yeah.
But the most sensitive part is hidden.
Okay.
Another option is substitution,
Okay.
where you replace the real data with fake but realistic looking data.
Ah. So it's like creating a dummy version of your data
Exactly.
that's safe to use for testing or development
Right.
without risking any actual sensitive information.
Precisely. And for the most sensitive data, there's encryption.
Okay.
This is like locking the data in a vault, making it completely unreadable without the right key to decrypt it.
So encryption is like Fort Knox for your data.
Exactly. And what's remarkable is that Mage Data can automate a lot of this. It's not a static system. It can adapt to your changing data landscape and apply masking to newly discovered data based on preset rules.
So you set it up, and it keeps working in the background,
Right.
constantly protecting your data without you having to manually adjust everything.
You got it. And that's a huge benefit,
Yeah.
especially for teams that are already stretched thin.
For sure, for sure.
But I know what you're thinking. How does all of this play with BigQuery's native BDM?
Right.
We've got two systems offering dynamic data masking. How do they work together?
Right. Help us understand how these two pieces fit together.
Okay.
And we were just starting to uncover how Mage Data acts like that bridge, connecting BigQuery's powerful masking capabilities to the rest of your data world. It's like they're extending BigQuery's reach beyond Google Cloud, creating this unified shield of protection.
Exactly. It's not about replacing BigQuery's DDM. It's about making it even better, expanding its reach, and making those robust security features accessible to more people, regardless of their technical expertise.
That's a critical point. Not every organization has a team of cloud security gurus. Mage Data seems to be saying, don't worry, we've got you covered.
Absolutely. And remember all those data detective techniques we discussed in part 1? Well, let's dig a little deeper into how Mage Data actually finds those needles in the haystack, especially those cleverly disguised ones.
Okay, let's unpack this further. We talked about column name matching, which seems pretty straightforward, but what happens when the column names are more generic? How does Mage Data uncover sensitive data that's hiding in plain sight?
That's where the real magic of AI comes in. Mage Data doesn't just rely on keywords or obvious labels. It uses machine learning, a type of artificial intelligence that allows computers to learn from data and identify patterns without explicit programming.
So it's like training a computer to think like a data security expert, to spot those subtle clues and hidden relationships that we humans might miss.
You got it. Mage Data uses a specific type of machine learning called classification. It's particularly good at categorizing data, which is perfect for this kind of task. The system analyzes actual data values within those columns, looking for patterns, distributions, and statistical properties that might reveal sensitive information, even if the column name is generic.
Wow, so it's not just about looking for specific words or phrases, it's about understanding the context of the data and identifying anything that looks out of place. But how do you teach a computer to do that?
Think of it like training a dog to sniff out certain scents. You expose the AI model to lots of examples of sensitive data like credit card numbers or social security numbers. The algorithm learns to recognize the unique characteristics and patterns associated with that type of data.
So it's building up this internal scent profile for sensitive data, right? And then when it encounters new data, it can compare it to that profile and flag anything that matches.
Precisely. But like a well-trained detective, Mage Data doesn't rely on just one technique. It also uses pattern matching based on predefined formats.
Right, we touched on that briefly. It's like having those filters that scan your data for anything matching specific patterns, like those for credit card numbers or social security numbers. But what if these sensitive data is scattered across different systems? How does Mage Data piece that puzzle together?
That's where master data matching shines. Think of it as having a master list of sensitive records. Mage Data compares your data against that master list, like a detective cross-referencing clues, and can identify those sensitive records even if they're fragmented across multiple databases or applications.
Okay, so they've identified the sensitive data. Let's dive into how Mage Data actually protects it. We talked about them offering a variety of masking techniques. What are some of the key approaches they use?
One common technique is redaction, which is like taking a black marker and redacting sensitive information on a physical document. You can either block out the entire data element, like a full credit card number, or just a portion of it.
So you might redact all but the last 4 digits of a credit card number, for example?
Exactly. This allows you to still identify the record or perform analysis, but the sensitive details are hidden. Another approach is substitution, where you replace the real data with realistic-looking but fake data.
It's like creating a safe playground for your data, right? Developers can test their applications, analysts can run their reports, all without exposing any real sensitive information.
Precisely. And when you need maximum security, there's encryption. This scrambles the data, making it completely unreadable without the right key to decrypt it.
Encryption is like that high-security vault for your data, ensuring that even if someone gets access, they can't actually read the sensitive information. But managing all these different masking techniques and policies sounds like it could get complicated, especially as your data grows and changes.
That's a valid concern. Fortunately, Mage Data simplifies things with automation. It's not a static system. You can set it up to constantly monitor your data, identify new sensitive information, and apply the appropriate masking policies based on predefined rules.
So it's like having this intelligent security system working in the background, adapting to changes and keeping your data protected 24/7. That's a huge relief. But let's get back to BigQuery. We've got two systems offering dynamic data masking. How do they work together? Can they truly coexist and complement each other?
Absolutely. In fact, they work beautifully together to create a more comprehensive and robust data security strategy. Remember, BigQuery's DDM is fantastic at protecting data within the Google Cloud platform, but many organizations have data living elsewhere.
Right, we talked about that data sprawl problem where data is spread across on-premise servers, different cloud platforms, and even within various applications. So how does Mage Data help bridge that gap?
It doesn't matter if your data is on-premise in another cloud or even in a SaaS application. Mage Data creates a consistent layer of protection across your entire data landscape.
So it's like having a universal translator for data security, ensuring that everyone speaks the same language, regardless of where the data lives. But we also mentioned that BigQuery's DDM can be a bit technical to manage. Does Mage Data help with that as well?
Absolutely. One of Mage Data's strengths is its intuitive, user-friendly interface. They've designed their platform to be easy to use, even for those who aren't coding experts. It's like having a simplified control panel for your BigQuery DDM policies.
So you're getting the power and flexibility of BigQuery DDM, but with a much easier way to manage and configure everything. That's a huge win for organizations that might not have a dedicated team of cloud security gurus. But can you give us some real-world examples of how this partnership between Mage Data and BigQuery DDM plays out?
Of course. Let's imagine a company that's migrating to Google Cloud. They're moving their data warehouse to BigQuery, which is a fantastic first step, but they still have some sensitive data on their own servers.
It's a very common scenario, right? Organizations are embracing the cloud, but they often still have some data residing in those on-premise systems.
Yeah.
So how does Mage Data help them in this transition?
Mage Data steps in to bridge that gap, ensuring consistent data protection across both environments. They don't have to manage separate masking policies for the cloud and on-premise worlds, saving them time and headaches while ensuring their data is protected consistently regardless of location.
So it's like they're getting the best of both worlds right. They're enjoying the benefits of the cloud while maintaining control over their data security, all without needing a PhD in cloud computing.
Mhm.
What about scenarios where an organization needs more granular control over masking?
Let's picture a financial institution that uses BigQuery to analyze customer data for things like risk assessment and fraud detection. They're dealing with highly sensitive information, things like credit card numbers, bank account details, and social security numbers.
Protecting that kind of information is absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
How does this combination of Mage Data and BigQuery DDM help them navigate that challenge?
They can use Mage Data to implement dynamic masking based on user roles and permissions. So, for example, a customer service representative might need to see a customer's order history, but shouldn't have access to their full credit card number.
It's like having a security guard standing at the door of your data, checking everyone's credentials, and only granting access to the information they're authorized to see.
Exactly. This granular control ensures that sensitive data is only accessible to those who absolutely need to see it, minimizing the risk of unauthorized access or data breaches.
This is incredible. It's like creating this personalized security experience for each user, ensuring they only see what they're supposed to see. What about other industries? Where else are Mage Data and BigQuery DDM making a difference?
Healthcare is another great example. Imagine a hospital using BigQuery to analyze patient data for research purposes, trying to improve treatment outcomes or develop new therapies.
Protecting patient privacy is absolutely crucial in healthcare. How does this partnership between Mage Data and BigQuery DDM support those efforts?
They can use Mage Data to mask those sensitive data points within BigQuery, such as patient names, medical record numbers, or specific diagnoses. This way, researchers can access and analyze the data for valuable insights without ever seeing any personally identifiable information.
So they're advancing medical science and potentially saving lives, but doing so in a way that respects patient privacy and confidentiality. It's a win-win situation. But let's shift gears for a moment. We've been talking a lot about the technical aspects, but what about the human side of things?
Right. Let's connect this back to the individual listener who might be thinking, okay, I'm convinced I need to step up my data security game.
Exactly. If someone's listening to this and saying, all right, I'm sold on dynamic data masking, but where do I even begin? How do I figure out the right DDM approach for my organization? What advice would you give them?
It all starts with a clear understanding of your data landscape. Where is your data located? Is it all in BigQuery on-premise or scattered across multiple cloud platforms? What types of sensitive data do you have and where is it stored?
It's like taking inventory of your data assets before you decide how to protect them right. You need to know what you're dealing with and where those vulnerabilities might exist.
Exactly. And once you have a good grasp of your data footprint, you need to consider your team's capabilities. Do you have a team of cloud security specialists who are comfortable with scripting and complex configurations, or are you looking for a more user-friendly solution that doesn't require extensive technical expertise?
Ease of use and manageability are crucial, especially for smaller organizations that might not have a dedicated security team.
Absolutely. And you also need to think about scalability. How much data are you working with currently, and how is that expected to grow in the future? You want to choose a solution that can handle your current needs, but also scale gracefully as your data volume increases.
You don't want to invest in a solution that becomes a bottleneck as your data grows. You need something that can adapt and grow alongside your organization.
Precisely. Think long-term and consider a solution that aligns with your overall data strategy.
It's been quite a journey exploring dynamic data masking and how Mage Data really enhances BigQuery's capabilities.
It really has, and it highlights how important data security is in today's world.
For sure. We've seen Mage Data act like a true data detective, uncovering sensitive information and then providing a variety of techniques to protect that data.
Right, and it's not just about finding the data, it's about understanding the context, making sure it's protected, but still usable for analysis and other purposes.
Exactly. And what's impressed me is how Mage Data extends BigQuery's reach, making sure data is protected whether it's in Google Cloud or in a hybrid environment.
Absolutely. That's a key point. A lot of organizations are dealing with data spread across different systems, and Mage Data provides that unified security layer.
It's like they're saying, we've got you covered no matter where your data lives.
Exactly. And they do it in a way that's easy to manage and understand, even for those who aren't cloud security experts.
So before we wrap up, let's talk about what makes Mage Data so special. What are some of the standout features that really set them apart?
One of the things that impresses me is their platform agnostic approach. They're not tied to any specific cloud provider or technology.
So they can integrate with pretty much any data environment.
Pretty much. It's like having a universal adapter that can plug into any data system. Whether you're all in on Google Cloud using multiple clouds or still have on-premise systems, Mage Data can handle it.
That's huge for organizations trying to manage that data sprawl. It eliminates the need for multiple point solutions, which can get messy.
Definitely. And on top of that, they've made ease of use a priority. Their platform is designed to be intuitive and user-friendly.
We've talked about that, but can you give us some specifics? How does Mage Data make managing DDM so simple?
Their interface is entirely graphical, so you don't need to be a coding expert. You can set up your data masking policies with drag-and-drop simplicity.
That's a game changer for organizations that might not have a dedicated security team or are working with limited resources. It makes data security much more accessible.
Exactly, and the automation features are top-notch too.
Right. We discussed how Mage Data can automatically discover sensitive data and apply masking rules. But I understand there's even more to it.
One feature I find really valuable is policy versioning and rollback. Let's say you make a change to a masking policy and it doesn't work as intended.
We've all been there. It can be a bit nerve-wracking.
With policy versioning, Mage Data keeps track of every change so you can easily revert back to a previous version if needed.
It's like an undo button for data security. That's a huge relief.
Definitely. It gives you the confidence to experiment and fine-tune your policies, knowing you can always go back if needed.
It's about being agile and adapting to the ever-changing security landscape.
Exactly. And Mage Data doesn't stop there. They understand that no security tool is an island, so they offer seamless integration with other solutions like SIEM and DLP systems.
So it's about creating a more comprehensive security ecosystem.
Right.
Look, can you give us an example of how that integration might work?
Sure. Let's say your DLP solution detects a potential data leak. Mage Data can automatically trigger a more restrictive masking policy for that specific data set, further minimizing the risk.
Wow, so it's like having these automated security reflexes responding in real time to potential threats. That's impressive.
It's all about creating a proactive and adaptive security posture. And what I find most remarkable is that Mage Data makes this level of sophistication accessible to organizations of all sizes.
That's what I love about their approach. Data security shouldn't be a luxury reserved for large enterprises.
Absolutely. Every organization deserves the tools and resources to protect their valuable data, and Mage Data is making that a reality.
Well said. This has been a fantastic deep dive. I think we've covered a lot of ground. But as we wrap up, what are some key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
Well, first and foremost, data security is an ongoing journey. The threat landscape is constantly evolving, so you need to stay vigilant and proactive.
It's about constantly learning, adapting, and refining your strategies.
Exactly, and dynamic data masking is a critical part of that journey. It's about protecting your most valuable assets, your data, your reputation, and your customers' trust.
It's about weaving security into the fabric of your organization.
Precisely. And solutions like Mage Data make it easier than ever to implement and manage DDM effectively.
So no matter where you are on your data security journey, remember that tools and resources are available to help you succeed.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to explore new solutions and invest in the technologies that can make a real difference.
That's a great message to end on. A huge thank you to our expert for sharing their incredible insights and to our listeners for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found this exploration of dynamic data masking informative and empowering. Remember, stay curious, stay informed, and stay secure.